Cameras rolling and action.
My name is Vamsicharan Vakulabharanam. I teach economics at the University of Hyderabad. I am now a fellow of the second cohort of India-China Institute at the New School.
Great, thank you.
Welcome. You have been writing about China for some time as an academic, as an economist. Why did you apply for the India-China Fellowship?
I've not written much on China. Much of my research work has been on India, and it's been on looking at inequalities in the Indian context. And I have been working on two collaborative projects concerning China more recently in the last couple of years, but no research output has come out on that. It's an ongoing work. I applied to the institute mainly because I like the mission statement of ICI. It's trying to initiate conversations between Indian scholars, Chinese scholars, and American scholars on what this the rise of India and China would do to the global economy. That's what excited me, and I wanted to take part in this rich conversation and learn from it as well as contribute to it.
Don't look at me.
You've been in the residency for the last seven days already. What are some of your initial thoughts, and what are some of your thoughts now, having been through it?
I think it's been a very intensive intensive process. So it's been an intense experience for me, interacting with other Indian colleagues and also with the other with the Chinese colleagues and the New School colleagues. They all bring different perspectives into the conversations, and I've been learning a lot about China. I've also been learning a lot about India, and the whole comparison between India and China. So,
what are some of the things you hope to accomplish in 2 years' time?
Well, I'm part of two separate groups. One group is going to focus on inequality issues in India and China. We will try to generate the inequality numbers from an economist kind of viewpoint, and we will also try to develop a comparative framework to compare these numbers that we'll generate about India and China. We also want to look at the causes of inequality in India, causes of inequality in China, and compare these causes, and hopefully come out with an integrated perspective on why there's a rising trend of inequality along with rising prosperity in both these countries.
Have you been to China before?
Yes, I've been to China twice. I went to Shanghai in April of 2006, and I went to Beijing in June of 2006.
What are the impressions you have of China?
It was a fascinating experience because the most Indians have this very romantic view about China, or they have a very depressing view about China. Depending on who you talk to. The romantic view is that China went on the communist path, and they actually they eliminated class structures. They actually created an equal society, and Chairman Mao was very significantly important as a figure that brought about these structural changes in the Chinese economy. So that's one view, the romantic view, and the other sort of view is that Mao actually destroyed, killed a lot of people, brought about these famines. But most importantly, in relation to India, a lot of Indians believe that Mao started a war. He was the one who initiated a war against India in '62, and at the end of the war, basic trust between these two countries, broke down. So those are the prevalent views. So when I actually went to China, I went with a lot of excitement. I wanted to really see how China was actually evolving over time. If the stories we had heard about China, through the various news media in India, are actually true, and it was a great experience. Going to the city of Shanghai, I felt that I saw the future of the world, because it seems like some parts of Shanghai are ultra modern, much more modern than New York City. I went to Shanghai from New York, and came back thinking that they're out to build a future that is very different from anything that the Western capitalist world has seen. And Beijing seemed a lot more mixed in terms of it had tradition and modernity, in terms of the physical architecture, and it was always interesting meeting Chinese people in these two cities, learning from them, and actually seeing the processes of growth and inequality, in these two cities.
And with your position you are in as an economist in a university, you do have chances to go to China if you want to. Go there and meet some colleagues in universities. Why would you apply for a fellowship?
Well, it's not, when you work in India, in the Indian academy, your income levels are not very high. So it's quite an expensive proposition to go to China by yourself. So that's forbidding in itself. But secondly, if you are not networked with a community in China, an academic community in China, it's going to be extremely hard to make a trip. And we also have Indians have a language barrier, in the sense that most Indians do not know Mandarin. So it's wonderful to have an institutional structure that facilitates an interaction with Chinese colleagues. So many of these other problems are worked out, and we also get a lot of financial support in pursuing our research projects. So this is a great opportunity that way.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's it?
Yeah.
Unless you have anything else to
That's
add.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Show your baby pictures. Did you have the baby pictures with you?
I have them on my computer. So maybe some other time.
Oh, must be adorable. Is it a boy?
He's 5 months old now.
Already?
Oh.
Must be like, what is it, a Pacific? Right?
Yeah, close to 30 inches now.
What's his name?
Nishant.
Nishant?
Yeah.
That's a
Oh, that's
very
great.
beautiful name.
Nishant means dawn, end of night.
End of night?
Yeah.
Was he born in the evening?
No, more symbolic. Nishant is like dawn of a new period.
Oh.
That's how it's.
Dawn is in beginning.
Right. It was dawn for us in the sense that we were going back to India. He was born just 2 months before we returned.
Wow, that's so what do I call it? It sort of reminds me of what's the name of